PIV would be illegal too, of course, as well as the initiation of any verbal or physical contact to women and girls or boys, children, unless solicited by a woman for specific matters. I'm not sure what to do about boy children. Obviously, you know my opinion, but let's say that's up to the mother to decide what she wants to do before he turns of age to leave the female family circle. The author is apparently unfamiliar with the term intercourse and is also too triggered to say the actual meaning of PIV. Everyone at home, say it with me. Penis in vagina. Which is now legal. I guess all the women who want to have sex are just out of luck. All those fangirls who want Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp will be really disappointed that their fantasies are now illegal if they come true. Remember how this started? Down-to-earth and sensible solutions to end the patriarchy? Yeah, this is totally sensible so far. Here's something else that's sensible. Men cannot talk to women or children. Ever. They cannot touch them either. The only way they can is if a woman specifically allows it. I want you to imagine this policy at any other junction. How about the Titanic? Do you know how the women and children were led onto lifeboats first? Well, now, under this policy, the men driving the boat can inform the women or children about the impending doom, and they can't help but get them to safety because they can't touch them. So you know how some people survived? Imagine that being far less or even zero because communication and physical contact aren't allowed. Or, let's even present this into the hypothetical situation that she's created. Imagine this. What if a woman happened to stray too far into man's land, and some men outside their sheds decide to break the rules and participate in a PIV party that was mentioned before? A man who actually follows the rules sees this going on and goes to the border to try and tell the women guards about it, to help save that woman and receive some sort of justice towards these men. You wanna know what happens? Nothing! Because the men can't talk to the guards or touch them, so that the woman gets PIV'd all night long with nobody coming to help her. Thank goodness for feminism, guys. Finally, she says she doesn't know what to do about boy children, and that we know her opinion that it should be left up to the mother. Author, I need you to listen here. Maybe this is not the best time to have the talk, but it's gotta be said. How can a mother have children, girls or boys, if they have no men around? Also, impregnation requires, say it with me guys, penis in vagina. I know, shocking, but that's how reproduction works. But you certainly have an answer to this dilemma as well, as we'll soon see. Either way, what the fuck kind of choices does a mother have? Would she send her 4-year-old boy out into the wilds with all the men in sheds? Does the boy get his own shed? Is she implying that the boy should be killed by their parents? It's way too vague to say, but the segment has some very dark implications. Moving on. In order to keep all men and post-pubescent boys busy, we'd send them to clean up the vast amounts of detritus, pollution, and toxic waste that men have littered and almost killed the world with. Much of the damage to the earth is irreversible. However, with a great deal of effort and genius, women will find sustainable, natural, and simple ways of healing a lot of the damage men have caused, and send men off to do the dirty work. No man will be allowed to take any decision without female guidance. We know what happens when men decide on their own. Disaster. Oh god, yes, a disaster such as, I don't know, America! Because the founding fathers were men, and they made a decision to give it citizens freedom of speech, which is what you're using right now. Saying this in Saudi Arabia or Dubai or Qatar would get you potentially executed, but here it gives people like me a good method to slowly kill off all my brain cells for the entertainment of YouTube watchers. But let's get into this. You want to send all men to clean up pollution, and you also attribute all pollution and litter to be from men. Have you ever seen a woman smoke? I have many times. I used to work in a bar and men and women would smoke there, and often they would just throw it on the ground if they were out there. Are they not women because they littered, or are they not littering because they aren't men? Also, consider this. The Safe Drinking Water Act was an act to ensure that all drinking water was safe for consumption in the United States. By her logic, a woman must have thought of this idea. Well, Warren Magnuson is a strange name for a woman, but whoever this was, they proposed this in the Senate in 1973, and it was eventually signed into law by President Gerald Ford on December 16, 1974. I'm positive this is just a lot of women doing the cleaning and that these men, these damn dirty men, took all the credit. Also, making men do the dirty work, huh? I'm guessing you would need to pay them to do that, or at least feed them while doing this, so my previous notion of food applies. If they're spending all day cleaning the earth, they won't have time to scavenge for food. Not to mention that all the men in the world are in Texas right now, so they would need to pay for transportation and proper safety equipment so the men can clean the earth without being harmed by toxic pollutants. Whatever, there's men. Who cares, right? It's, just fucking radiation, toxic pollution, just die immediately. I mean, it's not like, not giving them safety equipment would immediately kill off your entire workforce and therefore leave the world entirely polluted with, according to you, no women left to clean it. But fuck me for actually trying to think this through, right? Moving on. Fathers' rights will cease to exist. There's no such thing as fatherhood. As we all know, it's a myth. Men will necessarily lose all and any power to dominate and control women's reproductive capacities. Considering you already took all the men and put them into sheds in Texas, made it illegal for them to talk to women and children, as in their wife and kids, and then forced them to clean up pollutants, I think that the rights of a father have already been stripped away completely. Also, there is such a thing as fatherhood, because single dads are a thing, and so is gender equality. It takes two parents to make a kid, and just because one of them doesn't carry around 9 extra pounds for the better part of the year, doesn't take away their rights, and they deserve the right to raise a kid if they choose. I have never heard of any instance of men having rights to control and dominate a woman's reproduction, unless you're talking about politicians trying to overthrow Roe v. Wade, but it's still in place today, so don't get too triggered yet. It's the inalienable right of each woman to control every phase of her reproduction and life creation. Abortion will be possible at any stage of pregnancy, however there will hardly be such a thing as undesired pregnancy, since there won't be any men forcing pregnancies on us anymore. Abortion will nonetheless be recognized for the trauma, mutilation, and loss of life that it is. The number of children in the human population will slowly decrease to sustainable levels. So will the number of males born. Women will be free to experiment parthenogenesis, or procreation with 2 female eggs. Parthenogenesis, or procreation with 2 female eggs. What? 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 Okay. There's a lot there, but I'm just gonna stick to this last bit, okay? Parthenogenesis. As of right now, without some major fucking leap in technology, parthenogenesis is impossible in regards to impregnation or creating new humans. It cannot even happen in a human being. I would also like to point out that procreation with 2 female eggs is not what parthenogenesis is, and also point out that 2 female eggs would not be able to create a new human life either. This has to be the dumbest thing ever. At least from a standpoint of reality. It is possible for every man to move to Texas. It's not possible for humans to suddenly learn an asexual form of reproduction. Oh my fucking god. Oh my fucking god. Moving on. The nuclear family will be abolished. In particular, the parent's property rights and absolute power over her child. Children will be considered as persons in need for autonomy and all forms of punishment. Authority or educational manipulation over children will equally be abolished. Raising and caring for children will be a collective responsibility for women, and motherhood/childcare, and especially capacity to be empathetic towards children, will be taken very seriously as something that needs to be relearned and studied over years before being fully competent for this immense task. Well, no shit, the nuclear family will be abolished. You need a dad for that to happen, and you ship them all to Texas! Next, if children all have autonomy now, does that mean that parents can't feed their infants? Because property rights for the child imply property rights for the adult, and if the adult can't infringe on the autonomy of their kids, they can't give milk or formula to their infant. Do you see a problem here? Not to mention the myriad of problems that can happen if a child isn't disciplined by the parents when they misbehave, and you want this to be a collective responsibility. What if a woman and the parent disagree on how the child should be raised? You say the parent have no rights over controlling their child, so how do they come to an agreement in that situation? What do you do to women who don't participate or who think that your empathy training is bullshit? You have way too many variables and holes in this fucking plan. Even if your ship all men to Texas to clean up the toxic waste wasn't insane enough, this idea of community child rearing via women who have no rights over a child is too flawed to not be a disaster upon implementation. But moving on. Schools as we know them as punitive reclusion centers for grooming into male domination and female subordination, as well as selection system for elite executors of patriarchal institutions, will be abolished. Boys would definitely not be around the girls, certainly not most of the time, and never be on the age of puberty. And obviously no adult male would be allowed near children. Fucking... what school did you go to? Oh, wait, no, hang on. Okay, I just found this tape. It's a recording from where I assume you probably went to school. Apparently this is a session from Mr. Jonathan Make Me a Sandwich Patriarchy that was found at the time. Okay, kids, calm down, it's time for a lecture today. The lesson plan is gonna be as follows. First, we're going to talk about how you young ladies will someday grow up to be baby machines for us boys. The second topic in Chapter 4 in your text is going to be detailing future job and careers for your boys. And the sky is the limit. But pay attention to the part on CEOs and politicians, because that's your area of expertise. Girls, turn to Chapter 5 for your 4 choices of career: housewife, nurse, secretary, and prostitute, also known as an actress. Finally, our third lesson and the final one for the day will be where we choose which boy in the class will grow up to rule over the nation, and which lucky lady will get to be the first lady. Remember, girls, you have to be somewhat pretty for the pictures, so if you let your figure slip when you're older, you'll be replaced immediately for this year's newest model of wife. Man, I know that the No Child Left Behind mandate really did mess with some people's ability to teach, but wow, that was a doozy. Moving on. There will be no such thing as teachers with positions of authority over children. Guiders would learn also from the children or students as much as the students from them. We learn anything we want, from languages to science to art to music to medicine to building to witchcraft to swimming, etc., without restrictions of age or time, as long as it's adapted to our capabilities, level, and availability. Learning would be autonomous with guidance when needed instead of enforced and dictated. There'd be no need for external reward, marking, or punishment because the process of learning itself is so rewarding and fascinating that it's self-sufficient. Anyway, I could go on and on. Non-patriarchal learning is truly riveting. No teachers, eh? We call them guiders now? What's the certification needed to be a guider? Also, learn from the children as much as students learn from them. What the actual fuck could teachers learn from a student that would be demonstrably true and also useful? Do you know how many children have tried to convince me that they were a Ninja Turtle? It's more than 6 if I remember correctly, and there's only 4 fucking Ninja Turtles, guys, so... A child was wrong? maybe it's not a great idea to let somebody who's only been on the earth for 5 rotations to try and dictate information to a trained educator, especially when the most relevant information a 5-year-old could bring to the table is, I want apple juice! But hey, they got a wide variety of topics to cover. From languages, okay, that's cool. Sciences, right, that's actually pretty useful. Arts, I mean, yeah, it's neat, but not really something I consider hugely relevant to early education. But, you know, it's fine. To music, I would put that under art, but whatever. To medicine. Like, you want to teach that to kids? Like, how young are we talking here? Like, do you understand how fucking complex medicine is? Or how, like, you know, people who are pharmacists have to get the exact measurements on any sort of medicine or pill correctly, or else it could, you know, fuck with people medically, or even in some cases kill them? To building, what, like construction? That seems kind of like a tough subject, and, you know, maybe something that you shouldn't trust to children. To witchcraft, okay, hang on, what the fuck? To swimming. No, you don't just get to fucking go for something as off the walls as witchcraft and be like, yay, swimming! What the fuck is swimming as an educational category, and why is witchcraft here? Oh, and it says without restriction to age or time, so guess what? I guess we could have anybody learn about witchcraft and medicine. Hey Susie, 4-year-old little girl, do you want to be a brain surgeon? It's also apparently autonomous. How convenient that people only learn what they want to learn. It's like something, what is it? I can't think of what it could possibly be called, so I'm just gonna make one up. A university. You know, one of those, a mythical place where you can take a class on almost anything, and you choose what classes you want to take stuff on. Man, wouldn't that be great? But, what am I kidding? Those don't exist in a patriarchy. Also, they mention no external reward because learning has its own merit. Yeah, imagine that. Okay, Julia, your 12 years of learning neurobiology finally paid off. Metaphorically, that is, you don't really get any benefit for education. Not like it makes you able to get a job or get paid better, you know, because of our new Utopia, so have fun with that knowledge. Also, non-patriarchal learning is riveting. How the fuck, based on your current position, how the fuck can you know of something that you're learning is non-patriarchal if you grew up in a patriarchy? Do you think the ruling body of men that you think enforces their will over you would just let this info slip through the cracks? Like they would just allow, you know, any random kid or some blogger to find out all the secrets about the world and use it to fight them? No. That creates a problem. It either means that the patriarchy is stupid, which means that you're even more stupid for allowing them to rule over you or everyone else, or it means that it doesn't exist. Take your pick. Either option is a win for me. Moving on.